Hey folks, it's Farmer Marshall. Now I just finished doing some work in my fall winter garden. And yeah, this is going to be a winter garden because I garden year round. But as I was working on my garden, I started thinking, and I hate to be that guy, but I started thinking about my spring summer garden. And I laid out some goals for myself and I actually wrote them down because they say if you write a goal down, the chances of you achieving those goals are much more likely. And I figure if I put it on video and tell all you guys, I got some work to do. So, my overall goal is to increase the productivity in my garden by 50%. And that, I know that's a large, overarching goal, but there are things I can do to achieve this goal. So, in order to achieve my main goal, I have a bunch of other goals that I want to achieve. So, one of my biggest goals is I want to make sure that I feed my garden more. And sure, that sounds simple, but when you're busy, when you're using water soluble fertilizer, when you have to buy compost, those things add up, not only as far as time, but as far as money. I'm not cheap, but I'm frugal. So, one thing I'm going to do to help feed my garden better, I'm going to work more on my compost bin. I have a 3 bin system back here that's full of stuff, but I want to even put more in it. Last year, I took out 18 buckets, actually more than 18. I took out 18 buckets in the spring of compost. I've used more buckets since then. So I want to increase the amount of compost I have because that can feed my soil, which will help feed my plants. Goal number 1. Something else I'm going to do to help feed my plants better is I'm going to be adding some natural homemade fertilizer. And that homemade fertilizer won't be something I'm going to make. Well, not really. It's going to be made by my quails. See that quail hutch behind me? It's not finished, and I'm not going to have the quail eggs until maybe February. I've already ordered them. But I'm going to use the quail compost or the quail manure to add to my compost to add to my garden. Of course, it might not be until late summer when that compost is ready because bird fertilizer is hot, so you need to compost the manure in a compost bin. I got that covered. And the great thing about having a compost bin and having quail is it's going to save me money, it's going to give me great fertilizer, and it's sustainable. I don't have to go to a store and buy something that's overpriced. I don't have to buy cow manure and say that, oh, it wasn't completely composted and it ruins my garden. Something else I need to do more. And for me, it's all about, once again, time and money. I need to make sure I'm watering my garden more consistently and more thoroughly. I'm not cheap, but I'm frugal. And I tell you what, sometimes when I look at my water bill, it makes me shut my water off some and not water as much as I should. But I have a solution for that. And oh boy, do I have a solution. If you saw my first and only live so far, I purchased water containment units. I'm not just talking about one. I'm talking about 4 rain barrels, 60-gallon rain barrels, and 275-gallon water containment units. I got them at the yard sales. They weren't even on sale. I made an offer because I heard they were moving. They sold them to me for $300 total, and they delivered them. So now, when things are a little dry and I'm looking at my money, I'm going to have free water. Free water that has no chlorine, no fluoride, just water from the sky. So I'm going to be using that to water my garden more next year, and I think that will definitely help with my production. The next thing on my list is I'm going to be doing vertical gardening. I tried it a little bit last year, but it really didn't pan out because I really wasn't using the materials that I needed. So I bought some cattle panels that I can use to make an arch so I can have row after row after row of trellises for, there's so many different things I can do. And the reason I bought the trellises is because I want to increase my gardening space without increasing my gardening footprint. So with these trellises, my tomato plants, I'm going to buy indeterminate plants only. And the difference between indeterminate and determinate plants is determinate plants are essentially bush plants. They'll get, so high and stop. Indeterminate plants will grow and grow and grow. 6, 7, 8 feet. If you got a trellis, you feed them well, you water them well, I'm going to be able to take my tomato plants and get much more production out of them because I'm going to be growing up and up. Also, I can take my cucumbers, which takes huge amounts of space, and grow them up. My squash, my zucchini, even my cantaloupe plants. Instead of having them running all up and down the rows, blocking my available space for other plants, I'm going to be able to grow these plants up. Now I bought 4 cattle paddles, which will give me enough space to make enough trellises where I'm going to be able to really increase my production in my garden. I'm really excited about this. It's not going to be fun setting them up, but hey, it's work. Oh, and as far as things I'm going to add to my cattle panels, I forgot to mention beans. Tons of beans going up, up, up. I'm really excited about this. And this is about as excited as I ever get in the garden. So some of the space I'm going to save by having trellises, I can use some of that space to add pollinators throughout the garden. So I'm going to add marigolds, dahlias, and zinnias. If you have any other suggestions, please put them in the comments. So this year I experimented a little bit with doing herbs. I planted some basil and some thyme. It did well, but I can do better. So I'm going to add more basil, more thyme, more mint, just more herbs around the vegetable garden because I know we can use them. Why buy them if I can just grow them myself? Something else I'm committed to doing is preserving more food. I have a dehydrator. My wife just got a air fryer that's also a dehydrator. So I'm going to be able to dehydrate a lot of food. Also, I'm going to be canning more food. I'm more of a dehydrator because I know it's easy and safe, but canning can be safe if you do it properly. And I have had some success at canning, but I want to become more proficient at it. So yeah, I'm going to be canning food, preserving whatever I can. Because sometimes in the garden, I have extra stuff and I need to do something with it. I'll give some to family, maybe some friends, but I want to save as much as I can. So I'm almost finished with my list. And I hope I've given you a few ideas of some things that you might want to try. Or maybe I've just put an idea in your mind that, hey, maybe I should come up with something that I want to do. Because this is not just for me, it's something for you. Hey, I rhymed that. So do me a favor. If you enjoy my content and you want to see more, first of all, please share it out to your friends and your family. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification button. That way you'll be here next time I have something going on in the garden. Now let me get back to my list. I'm glad I didn't number the list because, frankly, I've forgotten what number I would be on anyway. Now, one of my biggest things for next year is I want to plant everything from seed. Every year I do plant some items from seed, but sometimes things fail or sometimes I'm just slacking on taking care of my seedlings. So next year, I'm going to get my seed setup started early, first of all. That way, in case something does fail, I can come back and do some succession planting. Secondly, I'm going to make sure I take better care of my seedlings. There's no reason for me to go buy one single plant from anyone. I have plenty of seeds. I've ordered some from In My Gardener. I've ordered some from Baker Creek. I have some I got from the big box stores. I have tons of seeds, and on pretty much everything that I do want to plant, I have a seed for, many seeds for. So yes, I do plan to grow everything from seed because some years when I failed at some seeds, I would panic and go to a big box store and buy plants so I had stuff in my garden on time. This year, I just have to be better prepared and take better care of my seedlings. Sometimes seeds don't germinate. Sometimes you have older seeds. Sometimes things just happen. I'm not about to let things just happen this year. I have to make things happen. So, what are your gardening goals for next year? Do you plan on composting? Do you plan on starting a garden? Do you plan on starting some things from seed and getting better at doing seeds? Do you plan on planting different varieties? Or do you plan on planting a tree? Because once you plant that tree and it gets started and starts producing fruit, that tree can give you fruit for 20, 30, 50 years, maybe even longer. This tree might provide food for your kids and your grandkids. Plant a tree. I know we didn't talk about it, but maybe plant a tree. But please, make your own goals. Write them down. In fact, put them in the comments so we can all see what your goals are. That way, you might feel a little more obligated to do it since it's the internet and the internet lasts forever. Besides, I would like to see some other goals. Maybe somebody has a goal that I didn't think about that I should consider. Maybe your goal will become someone else's goal. It's all about sharing. That's why I share my garden. So, once you have your goals, let's get out there and get a little dirty. Yeah.